Welcome back, everyone, to another episode with Brother Metamorphosis. Today, as always, he's going to go in deep. And I've been waiting. Let me tell you something. This week went by so fast, brother, and I'm so happy because Monday came so quick. So I can vibe with you. And there's just so much that we need to absorb from you because, as I always say, you've done the research and you lived the life. But the main thing is that, as we were speaking before, and I'll just throw this in there, one aspect of it, these phones and the WhatsApp and the social media can be used for the good, but it's a double-edged sword because it occupies our minds all day long. And we can't have that. We have to engage in life directly with the sun, with each other, with our dreams and aspirations, with the creator, whatever you call that force, that creative force, God force, most high, that thing that's inside of you. This thing is made to pull us away from each other and from that force. But what you're going to share here today will bring us some more enlightenment so we can connect with what we have on the inside, so we can really live a true life with a real vibration to vibrate with the natural world around us. Thank you, brother.
Well said. Well, thank you, Brother Lance. And yeah, I agree with you, man. It's just amazing how if you allow it to, your whole day and night can be consumed with a bunch of nonsense. So the important thing in our lives is not so much as managing our time, but managing how time affects us. And so that's one of the major challenges. I know a lot of people struggle with that, you know, especially nowadays when all of these uploads are constantly, and then they know how to direct certain topics that you know, Black people need to talk about, like in a lot of your shows. So they spend an enormous amount of time just doing that and appealing to our emotional selves. And that's the lead in to what we're going to talk about today, because it's getting more intense and it's getting worse. So I want to greet you, Brother Lance, as always, man. Yeah, Monday is always the highlight of the week for me. And I want to greet everybody in the chat room, everybody that's tuned in to the LANCESCURV network. And today's topic is very important. If you look at some of the situations we're dealing with now and the intensity of it, this is a topic that we definitely have to discuss. And so the name of today's show, correctly, as Lance has posted there on that beautiful graphic, is the Hegelian Dialectic. Problem, reaction, solution, and the gaslighting of Black America. So I want to define gaslighting, and also, as usual, I have the visuals. Lance, the first one, it gives a brief breakdown of what gaslighting is. But before we go into, no, it's the one, it's like a lamp with it. And before we go into the Hegelian dialectic, we're going to shed some light on what gaslighting is. So basically, what gaslighting is when people who have some type of control over the conditions in your life, whether it be personal, whether it be business, whether in our case is usually governmental or, you know, organizational. But basically, it's when someone makes you feel, they manipulate your emotions and make you feel that there is some type of insecurity with you, that you're being too overly sensitive about a situation. Like whenever we have to address issues concerning the Black community, then it's an attempt to make you feel like you are or like they like to use the term using the victim or racism card. When we know these elements are very prominent in the lives of all Black people, we know this. So it's an attempt to make you feel, and in this case, we're talking about Black people, to make you feel like whenever you address these systemic issues and these issues that are constantly, weaponized against our community, and you as a person, as a Black person, then somehow you're overreacting or sensitive to a situation that you don't need to be. Now, again, it's the people who are in the position, okay, to affect your quality of life on a daily basis that does this. Many of these people are narcissists because they want complete control over your life in all areas of human activity. And the main thing is that they want to manipulate you emotionally. And this extends, I'll give a brief example of this. Like with our women in the medical industry, well, when they go to these so-called hospitals, then first of all, they're diagnosed based on the diagnosis of women that don't have the same makeup that they have, biological or psychological. In many cases, our women are told certain things medically that is not true. Let's just face it. Okay. But somehow they're able to continue this because at the end of the day, we know that they're not diagnosing them in order to help them, but in some way to get them dependent on the medical field and also the pharmaceutical field. That is the end game for that. So it's a 1-2 punch. And this is constantly, so they medically gaslight Black women when they go into the hospitals, and they, make them feel like, oh, well, this condition you have is very serious. We're going to have to put you on some kind of medication. And you're saying to yourself, well, no, I don't feel that. I don't believe that I need to be on any heavy medication or what have you. I have no history of what you're talking about. But they convince you in order, and then they make you seem like, because when you look to them as a doctor, you're looking at them as the know-all and do-all of everything, and that's not the case. So our people deal with this gaslighting, not just from the dominant society, but also from our own people. And many times, before we even deal with what's going on with the dominant culture and how they're gaslighting us. Okay, and we're going to go into this more when we talk about the Hegelian dialectic, where you see where our people are told certain things, particularly when you look at politicians and how this game is played out every 4 years or what have you, sometimes 2 years, where all of a sudden the issues that have been prevalent in the lives of Black people every day, all of a sudden they become aware of it because they want your vote. So here again, we see where they're bringing up issues that they know that's affecting Black people. But then when our response is different and you go against the narrative, then there develops an issue. So let's, now that we know what gaslighting is about, and I'm sure everybody knew this anyway, I just wanted to put it out there because, again, it's a form of emotional manipulation. And we all know that, you know, they use emotions, okay, to gaslight Black people, to keep us on edge, to keep us always fighting, not just against the system, but against ourselves, because, you know, we don't want to be, it's just like when you don't want to rock the boat, okay? You basically just want to go along to get along so that there's no repercussions that come to your life as a result of going against these different forms of emotional gaslighting and emotional manipulation, which we're going to discuss today, and how this is effectively used against our people. And I actually found two visuals, Lance. The first one you put up there that explains the Hegelian dialectic, I just wanted to talk about that for a quick second. Because, yes, okay, so when we look at the Hegelian dialectic, I'm not going to go into the history of the individual who, came up with this form of philosophy, but it is something that's true. So, you know, irregardless to the source of this information, when you talk about the fact that this is a true dynamic that affects Black folks, will affect everybody, but, you know, again, we are here to address our issues. So if other people see themselves in these issues, that's all well and good. But we have to love ourselves before we can love anything or anybody else. So with the Hegelian dialectic, we have three elements. Okay, the problem, the reaction, and then the solution. And these areas are very, very important for us to comprehend. So in this particular visual, we see this terminology actually being explained, but using different words or different concepts in order to explain this problem, reaction, solution. So here we see at the top, we see that there's always an agenda. Okay, and this agenda is designed by the same people who have been designing this agenda since as far back as we can remember. Okay, so what you have is you have a control mechanism by the oligarchy, which is a group of people that runs a country. Okay, and in our case, here in the United States, we know who these people are. Okay, so what they do is they create a problem or a, where it says thesis, okay, they actually create a problem that's at a terroristic level. Okay, and that level, whether it's true or false, the way it's presented to us as a terroristic act, whether it's psychologically, physically, and in many cases spiritually as well, with the fear dynamic. But this particular thesis that they put forward, or this problem that they put forward, okay, is actually something that's created with the goal of having you to be emotionally manipulated. And we're going to talk about how they do that. And this is where the gaslighting of Black people really come into effect, because we know that many of these agendas are geared directly towards our people for various reasons. and we'll discuss some of that. And then here we have the antithesis or the reaction. Okay, so they're looking at how you react. First, the first thing they do is they get the media involved. Okay, and the media, in one of the videos we talked about how they use, just like the parrot, they get and receive the information. They basically they set up a situation where it's like a false flag. Okay, when they create the problem, but then they enhance the problem by showing you this problem on the TV now, on the devices, in the media now, and they show you these devices, show you these problems every day. So what happens is you're being emotionally manipulated by these problems every day. And whether you want to or not, like me and Lance were talking about in the beginning, okay, where you have a situation where where you have a situation where we're being told certain things that we know are not true. Okay, but at the end of the day, we have to accept it because, like everything else, we take for face value whatever is told to us without examining whether or not this is true or false. So they're looking at our reaction to the problem. Okay, how are Black people going to react? A perfect example is when they brought in people from other countries. This was a deliberate problem that they created. Okay, and they were waiting to see what the reaction of Black people were going to be, towards this particular problem that they created. And then on top of that, they are constantly showing you what these people are doing in our cities. They're showing you the crime. At the same time, when they're coming at us and creating a problem, they're also creating a problem for them. And see, this is one of the main stays of the Hegelian dialectic. I'll give a perfect example. The World War I was started by the sinking of the Lusitania in order for the Rothschilds, okay, which they financed both sides of the war, but in order for their financial empire to grow. So all of these hundreds of thousands of people died simply based on a lie. And in many cases, the problems that they bring to us is based on a lie as well. Because not only are they telling the people that they bring to this country things about us that's not true, they're also using the media to gaslight us by showing the worst aspects of the people that they bring into the country. And then by giving them all this money and then elevating them over you, they know that this is going to cause the type of response that they have seen from the Black community. But they are playing both sides. And then the other dynamic, the final dynamic, okay, is the solution or the synthesis, where they sync both the problem and the reaction. And they also sync the people or elements involved in the problem. So basically, they have this solution they have already put in place. And the solution can vary between whether or not your reaction is the one that they anticipated, or and in many cases, because of the way that this systemic racism is designed, you can pretty much predict the reaction, okay? Because there's not too many ways that we can go with the reaction. One of the things that helps now is the fact that we do have a source, or like Lance's platform and many of the other platforms that are out here, where we can voice our opinion. But even when we voice our opinion, we have so many different conflicting views about the problem that's presented to us, okay, that it actually creates another dynamic in the problem itself. So I found a very good visual. Lance, if you would show that pyramid visual first of the one, not that one, that is the modern day one that, yes, this one right here. That modern day one is very good too, because it helps to shed light on this system that the European has used for as far back for thousands of years. They want us to believe that we live in a capitalism society, or a capitalistic society, but the society is ran by capitalists, but it's a feudalism system that is set up. So I want to explain this before we go into the modern day version of this, so we can have a clear picture of how this Hegelian dialectic is used against our people and how they gaslight Black Americans. So just like we were explaining with the oligarchy, where you have a group of people, we refer to them as the 1%. And in this system, that is represented by the king. You see there at the top. So just like in America, the king holds the deeds to all of the land. Okay, let me say that again. The king, just like in feudalism, as you can see here, and you can read it for yourself, the king owns all of the land, or what they referred to during that time as a fief. Okay, however, we know, and this is why we say that there is a conspiracy among white people, because in order for this system to be effective, the king can't do the necessary work, or he can't implement the policies that needs to be implemented in order for his kingdom to operate. So we see here at the next level, we see the lords and the nobles. Okay, these are the corporate people that the king gives them any type of fiat that they need to live the type of life that they view as successful. Many of them benefit in ways that we will never benefit. They are the ones that actually carry out the policies of the king. Just like in our political setting, someone is voted into office to go represent his particular district, the constituents in his or her district. But when they get to that cesspool of vipers, and they look at the fiat that they're being offered, and then they meet these other people who basically tell them, look, okay, the way it works here is, yes, you can represent your people in word, but indeed you're beholden to the king and his system. And so this is what happens. And then you have a situation where the corporations actually control them. So what they offer to the king is, we'll make sure you get the money, okay, in order to have the military protection you need to run your kingdom, the police that you need to enforce the laws of your kingdom. And as a result, you give us all this land, and we'll make sure that we keep this land in the hands of certain people. Now, when you get past that second tier of the corporations, the various aspects of corporate life, okay, which there are many, a lot of them we don't see, okay, then these are the people that control, okay, the other aspects of our existence that we're going to talk about here on the third tier. So here you see on the third tier, you see the media, you see the politicians, okay, you see the subsidiaries of these major corporations, you see the prison industrial complex, okay, you see the policing agencies, you see the judicial system, okay, and then you see the different aspects of the government that's used to keep Black people in the condition that they're in. Okay, so all of these various agencies on that third level are really the ones that are gaslighting Black people, because they know that in order to keep you in the condition that you're in, then they have to lie and manipulate you. They have to pretend as if they have your best interests at heart, when we know, as we say all the time, you look at the manifestations from nature, that if a seed is planted, it's going to manifest fruit after its own kind. And so regardless to how the rhetoric comes at us, we see that all of these different agencies on this third tier in this feudalism system are geared towards gaslighting Black people. So when we look at the fourth tier, the peasants and the serfs, okay, what the people at this third tier, when they're manipulating us emotionally and telling us to stop playing the victim card and crying racism, whenever we fight against the problem, like what they created by bringing these people into the country, then what happens is they say, okay, well, we'll take away your shelter. We'll make it so difficult for you to pay your rent or pay your mortgage that you have to go along with the policies that we implement. And we, again, you know, we're taught to listen to narratives, but, you know, you look at the manifestations. Just yesterday, you know, like I do every weekend, I go out and I walk amongst the people and I look at the reality. And, you know, I walked probably 15 blocks yesterday on a particular strip here that you see the reality, you know, and then what they say is it's drugs. Maybe 3% of the people out there are on drugs. There are maybe 5%, okay? But here again, who's introducing these drugs? These people don't have the ability to get these drugs or bring these drugs into the community. So once they get them hooked on drugs to this extent, then they turn around again, like we talked about the problem, the reaction, and the solution, and then they actually blame the victims. But the majority of people that are homeless, you know, at least here, I can't speak for other parts of the country, even though I've looked at, and it's mainly the same thing. A lot of these people have jobs. A lot of them, you know, cannot afford to live in, you know, in places they could live in just 5 years ago. So what they do is they say, okay, well, we'll build houses that you can afford. As long as, so as we move from the shelter, then we see that we have to pay rent to these people because they are the ones that are controlling the land for the king on the third tier. These are the people, the landowners, okay, that are beholden to the major corporations that answer to the king. Okay, so, and then we see also, we see that they provide some form of protection in terms of military, the police. Well, in our case, it's not protection, but it's the illusion of it. And then they use religion. You see here, the priest holding the cross up. You know, you're sitting there and you, on one side, you're looking at the people who they say was supposed to serve and protect you, that's bashing in your head and killing our people in droves on one side. And then you have the poor people that they're sending to fight these wars, because none of the people's children from this tier are going to fight these wars. Trust and believe that. And in order to keep you subdued underneath this, they have religion here. Okay. So, and then finally here you see that they provide some means for you to be able to feed yourself and your family. Okay, as long as you're making sure that you're, you know, working in there in the corporations that they are the guardians or the gatekeepers for, and that you're making sure that that fiat continues to go up. Okay. And as you see over on the last picture here, you see that if you're not growing your own food, then they make sure that you're dependent on the stores that they put in your neighborhood. Many of them have these sugar products, okay, that our children are hooked on. Or then they have the fast food restaurants, the McDonald's, the Burger Kings, okay, or what have you, or Taco Hell. And these places that they call food, that they provide, that's really not real food. So not only are you getting sick and going to the hospital and then being on pharmaceuticals from this food, you're also in a position where you have to continue to provide work for minimum wage. Because I don't care what they tell you with all of this, what they have out here. Like for Black people, they shut the door on our people when it comes to moving up the ladder economically. That's why you have to be smart, and you have to divest yourself from being dependent on the system in the sense where this is where your self-esteem come from. And see, I want to talk about this serf peasant level for a second before we move to the next graphic. that's really going to focus in on the modern day manifestation of what we're looking at right here, because it's the same system, but because of technology, it's being used against you in a different way. But the same elements, the fact that the people here at the third tier are providing a way for you to get food, unless you're growing your own food, through their fast food restaurants, okay, and grocery stores that they're putting all the GMOs in. And then here, making sure that you are working in these places that provide, where they're giving you maybe $15, $20 an hour, that you're providing for the people that are on this third tier who are beholden to the corporate structure here, that's beholden to the king. Again, how do they effectively do this? Where you have religion here on this side, and then you have the law enforcement on this side, whether it's military or the police in the various cities, that they use in order to make sure that you follow the structure, okay? And they offer you this as a result to appease you, okay, based on your reaction, okay? Because we know that one of the things they do is they take away your freedoms if you start reacting against this gaslighting. If you start reacting in a way that they didn't predict. That's why we have to change the way that we're responding to things. And we have to move beyond how we've responded to things in the past. Okay. But, and then here, finally, they're saying, as long as you're paying your rent and your mortgage, then we'll provide a way for you to have shelter. Other than that, you're going to be out in the streets, which many of our people are. You're going to be homeless. Okay, so we see this Hegelian dialectic. And again, when you, like many of us, you know, we recognize these games now. Okay, not only do we recognize it, we're speaking out against it. And this is where they're having an issue with us, because it's not only the fact that we're speaking out of, but the universe now is starting to bring about the natural form of karma or retribution, okay, in all areas. So they're beginning to see this dynamic, and they're going to turn up the screws on our people a little more, okay? Because at the end of the day, they know that if they can keep us infighting, okay, if they can keep us fighting about the fiat, how we're going to, if they can keep us giving all of our money to religion, if they can keep us not focused on the fact that we need to try to work with each other, even if you don't, you know, if you don't see what another person's vision is, then that doesn't mean that you can't support that vision, because each one of us, truth be told, are given a vision. Okay. But we learn from the individuals on this third tier that control everything and basically serves the people at these top two tiers, the corporations and the king. We learn from them to turn the screws on each other. This is what they've taught our people. Okay, so we don't see this dialectic going on. We don't see that the problem that's created for all of us is created by the same individuals, okay, who are going to benefit from it, regardless to how it doesn't matter which way this goes. They're still going to use people on both sides of the argument, because their goal has nothing to do with anything that benefits you. Their goal is to make sure that they keep their system intact. Okay, Brother Lance, if you show that other pyramid structure, please. Now that yes. Okay. So here we see at the top, and this is perfect. I'm glad I found this, because this actually perfectly defines the situation we find ourselves in today, where you have, again, you have representing the king, you have the platform owners. Okay. They're the ones that own these apps, okay, that censors our so-called constitutional rights, okay, where, you know, you can't really express what you want to and need to express. Okay, and then they make sure that they penalize you. They still have this control, and they make you understand and comprehend that if you go outside of this narrative, okay, then there's a price to pay. So they still hold this power that this king in the feudalism system holds. One of the other reasons why they hold this power is because they own 90% of the land. So there are a lot of different reasons why our people it's predictable how we respond. Because let's face it, you know, if you go against or upset one of your landlords or one of the platform owners that is providing a way for us or you to express yourself, then we see they're the ones that's really sensitive, like little children, because adults are able to take constructive criticism, because constructive criticism opens our eyes to the truth. Now, there are people that criticize you just for the... Could you try again? Alexa, I'm not talking to you, please, okay? Well, stay out of my business. So at the end of the day, these platform owners or these plantation owners, this is the same system, or these owners of these NBA, NFL, okay, that, you know, if our people are making, say, $100 million, then they got to be making close to $1 trillion. Okay. So we have to look at this for what it is. Okay. And then we have to have new strategies now. This is why I advocate letting young people talk. We can't, first of all, we're the only group of people that have generationally cut off our young people because of how other people. So another person's opinion of you should not define how you live your life. Because unless you live as a Black man, Black woman, or Black child, it is literally impossible for you to know what we have to deal with and how we go about dealing with this. And when you look at that top tier, that king, that these platform owners, okay, you get this picture of how they still, after 500 years, nothing has really changed. The only thing that's changed is, you know, giving you this pseudo feeling that we are successful. Now, I want to say something here. even with all of this, we have a tremendous story to tell. Okay, and this is why they block our stories from being told. Because when you talk about the human spirit, you have to point directly to Black people. And like I say all the time, I look all throughout history. There are no other people on this planet. Sure, there are other people that experienced the type of atrocities that was perpetrated on our people, but not for this length of time, for not the millions upon millions. Okay, and we can definitely go close to saying 100 million Black people over a 500 period of time have lost their lives. And not just physically, okay? But I don't want to get off track here. And the point being, before we move from the platform owners or the plantation owners or the corporate, not the corporate owners, but the sports teams owners, these platform owners on all levels. At the end of the day, the one thing that keeps their system intact is this problem, reaction, solution, this Hegelian dialectic that they use to even put Black people against. So think of the Willie Lynch syndrome. They use a combination of all these things to create problems, what you call intra or inter relationship problems amongst our own people. And they use various ways to do this. But at the end of the day, these platform owners, they control and dictate. And I don't care what they say about the Constitution. These are the people that are the Constitution. Because if you think they're not, then say something they don't like, and let Black folks say something they don't like, and see how quick your constitutional rights go out the window. Now here, on the second tier here that we discussed in the feudalism system, where you have these corporate partners, okay? You have these corporate partners that are your Amazons, your Googles, your Instagrams, your Facebook, all of these major corporate entities, Silicon Valley. I mean, there are thousands of corporations that we can talk about, okay? But these are the corporate partners here, okay? They are the ones that actually set up this system, okay? They set up the system. The media, okay, basically is the one that uses gaslighting against our people in order for this agenda to continue. Okay, and then on top of that, the way that things are designed now, that our people have to go through these corporate structures, okay, in order to have any type of quality of life. And if you're not going along with these corporate structures, okay, then you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem because, again, when we talk about reaction, we're talking about the fact that if your reaction is anything different than what they are expecting, then they have a solution, like little children, to damage Black people. So at the end of the day, and again, I'm glad I found this because this is a modern day explanation of this system that I talk about all the time. And, you know, I know a lot of times the other thing they do with us is when you look at a form of gaslighting is to make you think you're crazy or why you keep dwelling on the same things. We're dwelling on the same things because it's the same things that are being used against us. And so at the end of the day, it is these corporate partners that operate globally. Okay. If people don't understand this, is that American corporations are more powerful than most countries. Okay. And then you have these multinational or international corporations, okay, that again, they use this Hegelian dialectic where perfect example, you know, for decades, they've been telling the American people, you know, that we're in some kind of trade war with China. Where? When? How? When all of the products that we buy from any store in America are made in China. So again, you're listening to narratives when the manifestation is clearly telling us what the situation is. And ever since 1991, when Tricky Dick Nixon sold out the American people to China, this has been going on. There is no trade war with China. Okay? So again, and this is the final thing about these corporate partners and these international corporations, they don't have your best interests at heart. But we're going to show you the next tier, which is the same tier in the feudalism system that we explained, the old feudalism system that's really not old, but we're explaining it now in the modern day terms, where they are the ones that actually carry out these assignments. So we're talking about the power users and influencers. Interesting name because that's what they use for people on the internet, you know, and YouTube in particular. But in reality, the influencers that they are talking about are what we talked about earlier in terms of the ones that oversee the peasant serf class. Okay, and they are the media, the politicians. Okay, and then you have these people who are, you have the judicial system, you have the prison industrial complex, you have the military, and you have the law enforcement, you have education, okay, and then you have religion. So you have all of these influencers that our people are affected by, okay, and you see they call them power users as opposed to the last tier that we make up that they call users. But when you talk about power users, these are the people that influence our people. These are the people who hire the coons and the so-called rappers. I don't know what they're rapping about. But these are the people that pay them. These are the people that set up what's going on in Hollywood. These are the people that set up all of these different influences that affect our people on a daily basis. Okay, that have us trying to live a fantasy life, when in reality, all of their systems are designed for us to fail. The only reason you don't fail is because of your indomitable spirit. and the fact that the creative spirit is inside of you. And this is the only reason why, because everything that they have used against our people have failed. And even with this new agenda, with bringing people from other countries to create a problem in Black communities in our major cities, this is going to backfire on them as well. Okay, so finally, about the power users and the influencers is that these are the people that write the narratives that we live by. And this is why I always say that we cannot use these narratives to teach our children, because this is what keeps us in perpetual slavery. Okay, this is what keeps us. These power users and these power influencers that we are looking at every day, listening to what they're saying, even knowing that they're not even concerned about what, because if they were, we would not be in this condition. Okay, let's just call it for what it is. But we continue to hold up these power users and these influencers as people that we should emulate. And worst of all, that we teach our children that this is what you should aspire to be. Really? So we're teaching them that they should aspire to be liars, manipulators, murderers, rapists, sacrilegious, blasphemous. I use that religious term because our people understand these terms. So these people, these power users and these influencers, many of them are pedophiles. Okay. They're criminals. You know, they use these gangster type of policies to keep our people at bay. But yet, you want to continue, okay, to teach our people and our children. Because like I said, I'm more concerned with the young people. You know, Black adults, for whatever reason, many of us don't want to change. I don't know why that is. And I'm not concerned with that any longer. I am concerned with what my vision is. And that is that our younger generation must be taught something different, because these power users and these power influencers have a vice grip on them that you don't see or don't want to see. And then finally, let's look at the users, us. We're the ones, me and Lance was talking about this earlier, where, you know, they're uploading all of this garbage to us. You know, they're presenting different, all types of lies to us all day long, just to keep your mind, okay, occupied with things that are definitely designed to keep you in a hellish state of mind. Okay, and that keeps you envious and jealous of your own brothers and sisters. Okay, to keep you from having any type of ethical type, because there's no such thing as morality in America. I can't speak for other countries. There is no such thing as morality here in this country. Okay, but as users, they continue to feed us the same things in different ways in order to keep us in the conditions that we're in, that Brother Lance talks about on all of his shows. And with that, my brother, I'll end the show today. I didn't want to carry it on. I just wanted to hit those points and you know, bring
You
out
did
this
so
point.
excellently.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you did so excellently.
Oh,
When I was
oh,
looking at the
oh, okay.
pyramid influences and the corporate, I'm like, this is social media right now. I mean, on a
Oh
lower
yeah.
level,
Oh yeah.
but it's that way all over the world.
Absolutely.
I mean, with
That
everything, with every
pyramid right
hierarchy.
there, huh?
Yep.
That last pyramid that I found, I was amazed that I found it because it actually explains perfectly what we're dealing with right now. And I don't know what's wrong with my cord, why it's not charging. But yeah, and so we have to continue like you do every day, brother. We have to continue to address issues that are important to Black people, because at the end of the day, nobody's coming to rescue us. Nobody's coming out of the sky to rescue us. I don't care how much money you give in these churches. That is not going to change anything for our people. We are still not building anything with all this money that our people are giving to these entities. And so we have to come up now with a different game plan. Because it's sickening, brother, when I go out here and I see these other people. They're thankful for, like Curtis Mayfield's in this song, be thankful for what you got. That's not saying not to aspire to have something higher that you can build. You see what I'm saying? But at the same
Yep.
time, don't be fighting your brothers and sisters, envious and jealous of them because they're living in the cloud. You know, and just it's ridiculous, brother. And we get this
Exactly.
from these wicked people. Whereas there was a time when our pineal gland was open and we were walking as 360-degree beings, where we had so much what they call love, which is really Murray, for our people, that it just we empowered each other. Whenever we saw each other,
Yes.
there was a time, even, you know, in our lifetime, we empowered each other. More so because we were under physical threat, even though we're still under physical threat today. But Black people had the sense enough to know that we have no friends. We are the best thing that we have. And all of this, and I'll end with this, brother, because I caught one of your shows and I heard you address this. I was so happy. These people are telling our people, whenever you get something from all the money that our people have given to America, that you're getting something handout. Are you insane? There is nothing bigger than corporate welfare. And the people that's getting so-called welfare 10 times to 1 over us don't look like us. So you can sit around here and be snowballed all you want. But you need to get everything, because the other people that's coming here, they're applying. I see them everywhere. And you can't be mad at them when you're sitting back. You have bought this lie about, oh, I don't want to be on no welfare. Do you know how this land grab, the biggest welfare land grab? Well, it's 2 of them, the Farmers and then the Homestead Act. When they gave 160 million acres to white people coming to this country, and you're talking about some kind of welfare. What is welfare? No, you need to change your attitude towards the money. Like I said, Lance, when I found out that I had paid since I was 15 years old, 317, I was laughing with this Chinese lady that worked down there, because they look at Black people as crazy, because they get everything. A penny, I don't care where you see them, they're getting everything. And we was laughing. She was like, yes, Mr. Frazier, you have to. She turned the monitor around. I could not believe it. I would have to live like I was telling you 15 lifetimes to get half of that money back.
Yep.
I was like, oh my God. Now I'm just one person. Think of you. Think of the millions of black people that are paid. We have to change our way of thinking. This is owed to us. If they don't want to pay us reparation, then God damn it, they need to pay in other ways. This money is owed to our people, to our children, and going after it says that you ain't crazy. Because anytime I go anywhere, I see people from other cultures. They lined up all around these governmental agencies. They ain't looking at like they told you, well, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, really. So if you got $300,000 worth of household income and black folks got 24, then what bootstraps are you actually referring to? I'd like to know, because I'd like to have a pair of those straps in those boots. So at the end of the day, brother, they've been gaslighting us so much and for so long. It's gotten to a point where our people just got to change the way that we view things. And with that, brother Lance, looking forward to hearing you address a lot of the issues you're dealing with. And like I said, I can't keep up with you, but I do catch a couple of them here and there. And keep that.
Yeah, I'm on a roll right now. I promise you.
Yeah, keep that.
Oh yeah. I made some adjustments and oh yeah, finger on the trigger all the time. Not holding back. I want to say one thing for 90 seconds before you go.
Okay.
I was driving with a friend of mine here who he drives a cab. So he saw me and he said, "Hey, where you going?" "I'm just going down the road." He said, "Okay, I'll take you." And so it was nighttime. Actually, it was last night. And
okay.
I said, "Man, you know, the main road up here in this village, which is not the inner city, it's a small African village, the main part. I'm not even part of the main part as far as like it's a 20-minute walk for me to get up there. So that tells you where I am." And I said to him, I said, "You know, I'm still acclimating myself to living up here in the mountains with the folks who live up here, because they're definitely not city people. You know what I mean? This is country."
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
So I said, "Man, I haven't heard a gunshot yet." Now, you know, people will kind of, there's a lot of guns out here. They may fire off something in the ground, make sure, you know, whatever. But not at anyone where when you're in the street, you see all of these cop cars flying past to go get, and something was robbed. I said, wait, I feel so safe walking the street, even if it's 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, down a dark country road, and somebody's approaching me in the dark, and I can barely see them. "Good evening, how are you?" "Oh, I'm fine." And we're driving for miles and miles, because I really had to go into the city. Actually, I had to go to the ATM, and the one didn't have any money. We had to go all the way down into a crowd right where I lived and past that. So that flavor changed when we got into the city as much, but up in the country, I said, "Man, what is it?" I said, do you have crime up here like that?" He says, "No, brother, we don't." And I said, from where I'm from in New York City, even though I lived in Orlando, it was that way too. I said, it's just different. I said, what is the reason why? What do you think? You know, you may not have been to America, but your opinion, what do you think? The first thing he said, which was phenomenal: "Brother, we all love each other here. We see each other, we have our culture, and we just love each other." Now, Brother Neil fell off, so I'll just continue with the story. And I know he has to go. So if he fell off that way, then that's cool. But I'll finish the story. He said, "Brother," he said, we all love each other up here." He said, "We don't have to know each other, but when we see each other, it's all about peace and respect. And yeah, we have our squabbles, we have our fights." I said, "I never really saw a fight out here." He said, No. When you're arguing and heckling over the price, or even when you're really angry, you point, you raise your voice. I said, "That's true. I never really heard or seen anybody straight punch anybody." Now, I was down, and I'll talk a little bit. I was down in Accra, in the city, where the hustle and bustle was going, folks trying to make their money. There's a lot of money in Accra, but it's not spread out evenly. You have some filthy, rich people out here. Trust me. But the poor people, they gotta get it. And there ain't no welfare. There ain't no WIC. There ain't no Section 8. You better get it. So that's where the aggression and drive comes from. But even when I saw an altercation between two guys that they really looked like they were going to fight, they went up and down, back and forth in each other's face. They tapped each other on the shoulder, and they kind of slapped each other on the shoulder, and they were loud. I'm waiting for the first punch. It never happened. I said, man, if this was New York City, even before the first touch on the shoulder, either a gun would have came out or a knife or something. But it shows you something out here. Now, oh yeah, sure, brother, you can come on and say something. I just saw the chat room. Let me get the link. Sure. All right. Let me drop it here. Yeah, occasionally I'm back and forth. I'm over here multitasking. So sometimes when I don't see a comment, you know, but yeah, that was amazing. And he asked me, why is it so much crime over there? I said, well, it's the exact opposite. A lot of us have been taught to hate ourselves. And when we see someone else, not just the fact that their physical features, but just like we get annoyed and we don't want to see anything of us. We you know, and it's not conscious where we say to ourselves, you know, I hate myself. You know, there's the link, brother. There's the link. You know? And if you're still here, I know you didn't leave that quick, but yeah, you click that link there. And whoever else wants to come in, if you add, since I'm here, I was going to try to squeeze in another one tonight. You know, I just want to keep on swinging, but I have to prepare and transfer files. I'm going to still try to do it. Might be simple, you know, might be a little 20 minutes something, but I want to come on and say some things. My voice is strong. I've been preparing for this. I don't want to wax it again tomorrow, right? But I'll hang here for a while until Calamunk comes in, because the link is right there in the chat room, and anybody else wants to see or speak on something. But these things need to be addressed in a strong manner. And the more I'm recharging out here in the country, is the stronger I'm getting. There's a lot of work being done here on the premises. So my time is split. Sometimes I have to go into town and pick up materials and come back, then it's pouring down raining, or you're ready to work with the guys and they call you and say, oh, I can't come today. You know, it's that kind of thing. So you got to always be ready. But once I'm locked in completely, we're going to be on this just frequently as needed. And we need to keep these discussions going and keep our mind, as the Christians say, you got to keep it prayed up. But you have to keep the focus. It doesn't mean that you have to live this lifestyle where you're anal retentive and focusing on these issues all the time. We're going to have fun. Life is to be enjoyed. Life is wonderful, but not the engineered man-made life. You see, in that system, it is very difficult to get out of that system. It's not impossible, because even if I gave many in the world, right? Not that I have that kind of money, but if I gave most and did an experiment, and there's another experiment I was talking about, right? Okay, here's Calamunk right here. There you go. Welcome, brother.
You hear me?
Yes, you're in. Talk to me.
Okay.
How are you doing?
But yeah, I'm well, but your other voices is going on right now, so I'm trying to turn it off.
Okay, the sounds a little muffled or something, but
No, I can hear the feedback from your show.
Oh, you're getting feedback.
Yeah. I'm getting the feedback from your show.
Well, let me mute myself and let you talk to see if it's me.
Right. Yeah, that was
okay. I'm gonna mute myself. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. It was kind of, how can I say, like you moved your lips like the Japanese movies, the Chinese movie, and nothing came out, and then it came out.
So there's two voices going on. That's what's throwing me off.
Okay, well, I'm gonna remove myself right now. So go ahead. I'm gonna let you talk.
Okay, so I got a few moments right now. I actually teach boxing in Inglewood, California. But okay,
Go ahead, brother. We're listening. Teach me some
okay.
boxing, man. I need to know how to box.
No, no, it's just a bunch of feedback going on, but I'm just gonna talk straight, and hopefully you guys can hear me. Okay, so wait, hold on, let me get the mic. Okay, okay, I was trying to mute the mic, but anyways, okay, so look, no, it's I didn't just want to talk about boxing. I wanted to talk about the fact that our people are so asleep to the fact that we are in a war. We are in a psychological war, and we're having our frequencies lowered on purpose. You know what I mean? So I live in the inner city where they have nothing but lower vibrational junk food. I mean, they have a lot of shit on the street, like literally shit on the street, and you know what I mean, a lot of people don't recognize that this is done on purpose to keep our frequencies low, so we'll be docile, and then we won't be able to get any work done and try to better ourselves. So, you know what I mean? It's very hard to try to continue to connect with like-minded people because there's so many people that are so distracted and they have their energy uh, um, distracted by trying to survive out here, and they're not really focusing on the things that really matter. So you know what I mean. I just recognize that I just want to use the city just to connect with like-minded people, but also too to collect resources, network, and then get up out of here because you know what I mean. We need our own land though. We need our own land where we can go and we can go breathe and like rejuvenate. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you hear
Indeed.
what I'm saying?
Oh, I hear you loud and clear, brother. I just don't want to bring any echo. But what you're saying is perfect, and it's a positive thing. And from experience, keep it embedded in your heart, that vision. You can and you will do it. But don't allow those who are fraudulent, and this is not being negative, don't let anyone latch on to your dream and try to pull you away from it. What do I mean by that? A lot of people out here talk the talk. And when it comes down to it, they're not really about it. So many will be attracted to you, to be around you, and celebrate the vision. But when it come time to buckle up and get ready for the war, the righteous war of coming out of the system, they might physically do it and they still may not have it in their soul. Not that you have to spend any time worrying. No, you never worry. You only show concern. But just like a football player who has the ball and he's running for the touchdown, any one person tries to stop you from getting to that touchdown, you have to get rid of them. Have to kick them to the side. It doesn't mean you're bad, but everybody has a right to have their dreams and their visions. And as long as it's signed off on by whatever you want to call the higher power, it's all right, and you have legal right to do it. And you will do it, right? But what I'm seeing out here on social media, and I want to mention that, is that
Right.
it's a big speed bump for many people. See, you know, when you got a sense of urgency and you're driving, and you got to get somewhere, like it's an emergency, like you have somebody in your family who has a medical issue, I don't care how many cops are pulled by the side of the road. I don't care how many speed bumps there are. You zooming over that bad boy. To hell with the
Right.
shocks and the springs. Sense of urgency. But too many of us feign the sense of urgency and the drive and desire. But it's only like little children playing house, and a little girl dressing up like the mother, and the man, little boy dressing up like the father, right? They like to play this thing. You don't play revolution. You don't play going after your vision, because there's only but so much chronological time. But once it's inside your heart to do, you move forward and never look back. You only look back to help those who have the same spirit, that they want to do the same thing. You know how many people tell me, oh man, and it's not for everybody to come to the motherland, but have some kind of connection. The motherland is inside of you. So many people come over here to different countries in Africa, but they don't have any love in their heart. They bring the same old mess. They think that when they change locations, things are going to change. Go ahead, brother.
Oh yeah, I just want to interject and say one thing. I want to make a confession to you, Uncle Lance, because I look at you as an elder and I look at you as a mentor. I was diagnosed with ADHD. I've had it for a long time, but back in like the 90s and early 2000s, they didn't really have like a classification for it. But anyways, I'm saying that because as I'm listening to you right now, I'm hearing the feedback from your other conversation that you had on the show. But it just for me, recognizing that I have to eliminate all those other distractions or all the other things that's trying to detour me from hearing the realness that's being spoken right now. So, you know what I mean? I have begun to look at things spiritually. You know what I mean? Rather than there's a malfunction going on, because there's like all these different voices going on in my head, but I'm hearing exactly what you're saying at the same time.
Understood, brother. And I don't know. I had another tab open that may have brought some feedback. I just took it off because it didn't need to be open. Maybe it's gone now. I have another computer that's connected to Instagram, but I have to make this comparison. You have so many sperm that at the point of ejaculation, they do that race to get to the egg. This is the facts. Billions of sperm. And I find it funny that here we are again, and like the sperm, we all have a head, and we have thoughts, dreams, aspirations, and we have goals. Now, we all don't have the goal to hit the same ovary symbolically, which means the same dream or vision of building a home or starting a business or, whatever it may be, righteous. But many of us now, we're not competing with each other to hit the same goal, but still, a lot of us are not with that sense of urgency we need to. We don't even know what it is our purpose is. There's some people who get to 60, 70, 80. Some people leave this level and don't even know what their purpose is. And so you revealed that you were diagnosed with something. To me, that could be used as an advantage. See, in this world, when they diagnose somebody with something that may affect what they say, so what in school? They may say, oh, well, the attention is a little. No, then you can multitask better than most people then. You know what I mean? Like every disadvantage that somebody would say, never feel that anything that this world tells you is a disadvantage. See, that's why, and you talk boxing, so you know what I'm talking about. That every time you throw a blow, if I try to hit you with a left jab, the left side of my body is open for a right hook, a body shot.
Yeah.
So this life is about taking the risk, but an educated risk and a well-timed risk, and a risk that knows that if you take this risk, if you don't execute everything properly, it may be a disaster. But if you do, you'll be successful. So this is why you have to strategize and think and plan. And it's a joy when it's something that's in your heart to do. So never let anybody come around you. And I'm just throwing that out to the universe. I'm saying it to you, but I'm saying it, I guess, for a reason. Once you lock on to your dream and your vision, sometimes you have to take a step back. sometimes you have to give away a round in the fight to catch your breath. But you're not giving it away and letting the guy hit you all the time.
I definitely
Keeping it around even. But you're not going as hard as you did in the prior rounds. And so when you take that active rest, the other opponent might say, oh, he's getting tired, but they don't know. Look at Ali and Foreman. Rope-a-doped him the whole time and conserved his energy and let this guy spend himself out.
Yeah.
But it doesn't pay to be around people.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I booked a ticket to Africa recently. And I'm just like, man, I'm just give it a shot, you know.
Most definitely.
Most definitely.
You know, it's a big world out here. It's a big world out here. And you know what's sad? It may not be where everybody could afford a ticket or afford to have a home to sell to take equity and move somewhere else. I'm not a millionaire. That's what we did. But take your mind beyond wherever it is that you are physically and the mindset. You know, when I worked in places of the incarcerated, I was amazed at how there were guys that were there for decades, but their mind was so strong. They read a lot. They discussed a lot. Their mind was somewhere else beyond the boundaries of the physical prison. But there's so many of us who can move freely physically, but we have boundaries in our mind. And we're like a broken record that skips, you know, the old records, the old wax, that it finds a little piece in there and it keeps skipping. It goes nowhere. You hear the same sound over and over and it's going nowhere. So you see sisters and brothers sometimes who are stuck mentally and in prison saying the same things, complaining about the same things, going after the same things, and they haven't gone anywhere. So for those types who are thinking like that, who are trapped that way, they will come to the motherland with the same old foolishness. And then you have some who may not be able to afford at the time to come here, and they're free. You see? So motherland just doesn't do it if your mind is trapped. You have to be ready for that. And your mind is ready. Your mind is ready. The mental condition is just as important as the physical conditioning, as in boxing. And there is a spiritual element. When you see that one fighter who they didn't give a chance, he's doing the ring walk, and you're looking in his face, you know. And when you know fighting in opposition in life, you see that man there, you see him? He's a 25-1 underdog, but he got something in him. And don't sleep on this brother. He'll Buster Douglas you. He'll Evander Holyfield you. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
The spiritual aspect is what we have to fire up also. Got nothing to do with religion. Your intensity, your resolve, your real power and light on the inside. When you're still and by yourself, you're on your phone. Like I say, I've got buddies of mine sending me porn all day, and they ain't going nowhere. They're trying to create a leakage from the light that's inside of me. And people do that. Many creatures of the darkness gravitate to the floodlight that we got in the backyard. They don't really want to deal with the light. They gravitate toward to mess with it. And if that light is cut off, they go on where they have to go. They're not really about the light. You will attract people who are not really about the mission. And some of them can talk some good talk. Right? So you be careful of those who you have around you, because they will leak and cause energy loss on your mission. Me, I'm isolated right now. I'm up in the mountains. Ain't nothing around me. You know what I mean? I got no choice to be fired up all the time. This is my third show for the day. I'm trying to go for 4, and I got about 2 hours of work on downloading and editing and putting stuff on other platforms and clicking buttons and hitting buttons and playing my music and just doing what I do. Then when sleep takes me, I succumb to it and get up again when it's time to start my new day. Ding, ding, ding. And I come out for the next round. Mm-hmm. See what I mean? Just wanted to say that, brother. But if there's anything you want to say more, you can say it. And if anybody else wants to come on
No,
in,
man,
I'll
I'm
drop the
gonna
link.
continue to tune in every time you go live or every time you have a show. And I appreciate it, man.
Well,
But I gotta go. So
okay,
man,
because
I'm gonna stay in contact.
yes, definitely. I
All right,
appreciate you coming on in, brother. I really do.
okay, brother.
I
Thank you.
really
Thank you once
appreciate you
again,
coming
man.
on.
Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it. Yes, indeed. I really do. And does anybody who wants to come on in and say a word? I'm going to try to do this on every show. I'm not going to rush anything. If it's in you, come on and drop it. I'll give it a minute. I just want once again to thank Brother Neil Frazier for coming on in and dropping that. But that's the focus. We talk about a lot of topics. We talk about a lot of worldly things, not worldly decadent, but we have to address certain things to help others to clean themselves up and to see it from a different angle. If we talk about problems, which I hate to use the word, I like to use the word challenges. Because if you're a champion, you get challenges. Champions don't have problems. They have challenges to rise to the occasion and overcome. And that's my whole life has been that, from small things to big things. You'd be surprised what I've had to come through. Break down a couple times, I have to get up and keep going. So symbolically, you always have to keep your sword sharpened. Even when you have the moments of tranquility and you in the trenches, there's no bullets flying, but you keep your swords ready. Entertain yourself, laugh, tell a joke, keep it light, but keep that sword close, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, and know where your blip is on the radar screen of life. If you need to rest, if you need to get away, to build yourself up, you need to read or meditate and just be away, even from your loved ones sometimes. You got to come away from them. Take a walk. Go somewhere if you can afford it for 3 days and take a time. You have to wait for ask the boss for no vacation. Oh, I need a week off. No, take the time on the weekend. Tell them you're sick and take a day off. Walk down a different street. Go to a different part of your house that you're not used to being in. And that's the funny thing. Sometimes it takes for us to be sick to call out from work. And we're sitting down in that living room or the room that we're not used to going into. We say, man, I like this room. It took for me to be sick to be here and sip some tea and enjoy this. We hit the front door, we hit the garage door, we hit the kitchen, we hit the bedroom. Boom, boom, boom. I remember I was so busy on an actual vacation for 3 weeks. And I was so much into the work. I didn't even go in my own backyard in those 3 weeks. Sometimes I stayed in my old studio room all day long. It's about balance with anything. And I'm going to wrap this down and go. I just want to say I was having a conversation, texting back and forth as Brother Neil was speaking while I was listening to him, because I love multitasking. Just want to say, I'm not going to say caught up, because we have a lot of good mothers out here. We have a lot of good fathers out here. We have a lot of good sons and daughters out here. We talk about the bad things sometimes, but there's a lot of good people out here who are trying to do good. And oftentimes in us trying to do good, sometimes we do good, but we lose ourselves. Keep it balanced. If every now and then you want to get a little bit of ice cream by yourself, if every now and then you want to just have a day where you stay in bed and just zone out, or go back in the garden, or go visit an old friend for a little while, or just take yourself out on a date, because you know what you like and you deserve to have your mental, spiritual, physical, and emotional filters cleared to know yourself. Don't get so caught up in a position of being that good father. Yes, do the thing as a good father. Do the thing as a good mother. Be the good son or daughter, whatever it may be. But don't overextend yourself to where you lose yourself because of an obligation. You have to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities, but always keep that little percentage for yourself. That me time is very, very important, especially as you get up in those chronological years. You're still the same person, Hopefully there's more branches on your tree. You've grown, but don't burn that part of you out, especially when you're in a relationship. Because when that person leaves you, or maybe they transition, whatever it may be, when they're not in your life anymore, now you're scrambling. You don't know yourself. You don't know what you like anymore. You don't know who you are anymore. And there's so many people that blame everything else, but they never took the time to stay in contact with themselves. Imagine it to be like a phone number that you have your name, your name in the phone, and you can call yourself. When was the last time you had a conversation with yourself? When was the last time you told a joke to yourself? You don't always have to share all jokes. Sometimes I'm in public and I'm cracking up. It's something that may have happened 20, 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Love yourself, maintain yourself, treat yourself. There's a glitch. There's a glitch. There's a glitch. And it knocked me out. That happens. I was going to go through my phone. I thought it was maybe an extended power thing, but it was just a glitch. Everything came back on. Thank the creator. That's a hint. That's a hint. I'm going to take this energy. I'm going to do this thing that I have to do here. It's going to be a couple of hours, and it's already late for me. It's 8:37 out here in West Africa, and really it's my bedtime. But I'm going to push a little bit. Now, if I don't come on, like I said I would, because I do have at least 2 hours of work to do, I may lay in the bed and bring some words. I'll do it tomorrow. First thing, set it up. We're going to talk on some topics. I love the participation, the support, and we're going to keep on going strong regardless. And like I said, I've received such great news, 2 different things on 2 different levels. I'm blown away, but things ain't going to happen right away that way. And there's no dark soul out there that can stop it. There's no dark soul out there that's going to stop it. There's no hating narcissist that's going to stop it. That's why I say you have to be careful about the people around you. Not paranoid, because like I said earlier, you have legal right to shine your light. On this note, I'm going to leave, but I'm going to say it again. You got the legal right to shine your light for yourself and for the people you love, right? Because never has it been proven that darkness chases light. Light chases darkness. So don't be fearful of darkness showing out, whispering negativity in your ear, trying to make you feel like you're nothing, trying to flex on you. They're jealous of your light. There's a whole lot of darkness out here, but there's very few of us that carry the light. I'm not talking about skin tone, because black is where it's at. I'm talking about that light in your spirit. You maintain that and don't let anybody make you lose that, because these entities want you to do. They want you to lose that charge. They want to suck down the charge in that battery of your soul. They want to mess you up that way. You see what I mean? So, so you have to cultivate it and maintain yourself. And most of all, love yourself. You always love yourself. You're the best person to love you, because out of all the people that you know, and I'm going after this, out of all the people that you know in this lifetime, you're the only person that's going to be with you every second, minute, hour, day, week, month, year, decade, an entire lifetime. You're going to be with you. So why don't you love yourself? I'm not saying anybody here doesn't, but whatever amount of love you give to yourself, give it some more. Treat yourself right. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you for being here. I'll thank you for Neil, and I'm thankful for Brother Neil. And we're coming back. If not, I might surprise you. Definitely tomorrow, because it's almost like the bell ringing for the next round. I wake up, my feet doesn't touch the ground until I know what the exact mission is. And I already know what it is right now anyway. So let's keep on steamrolling, all right? Much love to you all. I will talk to you later on. LANCESCURV out. Always go to LANCESCURV.com to see everything that we do. Peace.
Make sure to go to LANCESCURV.com, an online magazine established in 2001, containing written articles, thousands of talk shows and discussions, cutting-edge cartoons, as well as erotic expressions and tasteful adult photography. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. Once you get a taste of the world of LANCESCURV, trust me, you'll be back for more. LANCESCURV.com. Bold, raw, and uncut.